safe and healthy, practicing good social distancing, and I hope that the same is for all your friends and family. Praying that everybody stays healthy and we can avoid this ongoing pandemic. The first couple of weeks here, I've been giving you different apps you can use on your phones to be able to do some basic storytelling and editing, quick and simple and easy on your smartphones. Now I'm going to give you a free software demo on a package called Videopad. If you've done video one or two with Dr. Taylor, or maybe done some film techniques with Chad or John, you probably played with Adobe Suites. Well, this is very similar. You know, the great thing about it is that it's free and it's really robust, so that if you can't afford Adobe Suite when you graduate or you don't have access to it right now, this will do everything you want it to do. And what's great is the fact that, again, it's free. There's a paid version of it if you want to upgrade for a few more bells and whistles, but you don't need to do that just for what we're doing in class. And maybe you're not a BEM major, maybe you're a PR major. Well, this will be good for you because you'll be able to put together promo videos, you'll be able to put together, maybe you're working for a nonprofit, you need to put together some type of video statement there. You can take this anywhere with you and it's not going to be a problem. So I'm going to pause this for a second because I got to reduce my screen, pull up Videopad, and we'll go from there. Okay, you're looking at the basic layout screen of Videopad. If you play with Adobe Premiere, it's fairly similar. It kind of reminds me a little bit more of what it was like using the old Final Cut, which was a Mac program. I just pulled some videos I had on my phone. I put them up into my Google Drive, and then I pulled all those files and put them in a file here on my computer to make it easy to pull them in and play around with them. So when you want to pull clips in, just go to File and Add Files. And let's just click on here, Add Files, and it's going to go to the folder that I happen to put all the pictures in. Now I've got a mixture of videos and stills as well as an audio recording. I'm not going to use them all, but I just want to show you how relatively easy it is. So if I just click on here and highlight all of the images and videos that I want, again, I'm not going to use all of these, but I just want to show you. And here's my one audio file. So when I hit open, it drags all the stuff in there. Now, again, those who've played with Adobe Premiere in the past, you notice that with Adobe Premiere, it'll line up all your clips in a little box. Usually it's down here in the lower left-hand corner. Here's where all your images and clips are going. But what's great about Videopad is that it just doesn't put them all in one area. It actually separates them out. So you've got a file for images, a file for audio, and a file for video. So now it's easy to separate them. I'm sure Chad and John, and both Johns, have told you that it's always a good idea to make sure that you label your videos and clips and images to make it easy. Obviously, I didn't. But again, this makes it easy that it's not all jumbled in one, but you've got a separate tab for each one of these. And actually add more tabs as we go on, as you see when I'm doing my demo. So I'm just going to pull just one of these clips. When I click on it, it gives you a basic editing timeline. Now there's a couple of different ways to do some quick edits. We're not talking about cutting and splicing right now. We're just going to talk about pretty much drag and drop. So if I go here right now and I hit play, if I want to, I can just do an in and out time. So one way to do it, and this can be a little cumbersome if you haven't figured out your timeline yet, but let's say I don't want all 14 seconds of my clip. I can move the time thing here to wherever I want. You see right here, it'll let you know where the cursor is. So let's say I want the cursor to start at around 3 seconds. So if I move it there, hit start, I know my clip is going to start at 3 seconds. Now the whole clip ran 14 seconds, but I don't need it to go all 14 seconds. I may need to stop in maybe 11 seconds. So if I put that there, I can set my end time, and there, that's the clip that will be exported if I want to. If I hit add, it'll put it down here on my timeline. If I realize, oh, you know what, that's not what I want to do, I really want to change that, I can just take the cursor, move it back here, set the new start time back to 0, move the cursor then all the way to the end. Um, and set the new end time back to what the original end time was. Or I can just go up here to edit, and you can undo everything that I did just by hitting edit. Well, it's going to say resize clips. Since I've already resized them manually, if I resize them, it's going to put it back to where I had it before. But I mean, that's how you can just go up there and just hit it to do undo, or you can hit the command keys, which I haven't become a master at yet. Anyway, so there's two ways to put it into my timeline. I can either just drag it and drop it, or if I've already got it in here, after I play with it, I can just hit add clip, and that'll move it down. There's two views you can have down here in your timeline. You can have the basic timeline one, which I have here, or you can have a storyboard one, which makes it a little bit bigger. I prefer the timeline myself. And with the timeline, you see those little plus and minus over here in your little toolbars. I can make it smaller if I'm going to do a lot more multi-track work, which you probably want to worry about doing, but this way it makes it easier to put more multi-tracks and see them clearly. Get back to the normal size. Now, if you've again worked with Adobe Premiere, you know that you can also shorten your clips by going to the handles here at the beginning. So you can go and make it shorter here. That way, I can do the same thing at the beginning if I want, but I'm not worried about doing that now. Get back to what the original, I think this is the original 14 seconds there. It won't want you go any farther than it is. Over here, you can move the auto track, you can have it more, you can pan it more to the left or to the right. You should want it pretty much dead center for stereo. But you can also lower the volume that's on the audio here in case you're going to lay down a voice track, which is what I'm going to do later in this demo. So now I'm just going to drag one of my still images here. And the same way that you would do, you got your little down here at the bottom, you got your little magnifying glasses so you can see how everything looks. So that puts it back to normal, or I can zoom in or zoom out. So down here is my little arrow. You can move and slide clips, the whole bar back and forth. So this way you can see where everything is. All right, I'm just going to drag, do a direct drag this time of my still image down here. And again, with the still image, I can make it longer or shorter, depending on what I want to do with it. Now, I went to just sort of make it easy to see. You see this little thing here? Looks like a little microphone. It's called, you can add your own narration to the clip. Now you can do it by this microphone here or this microphone up top, add narration. So rather than just having the clip stand by itself, maybe I want to lay down a voice track. So if I click on add narration, either up here or down here, it's going to bring up, sorry, didn't want to add narration there. I wanted to add narration here. So I want to make sure I'm lined up correctly. Be careful if you hit the add narration button up here, because sometimes if you don't have the cursor in the right spot, it'll add the narration where you don't want to. If you do it right on the picture, it'll start from where the picture is. So look and see what the screen is showing. This way you know where the add narration is. So if I start recording, Now, what is going on with this? Hmm. Anyway, let's see what we have wrought so far. I think my recording may have stopped somewhere in the middle, and if it did, I'm going to have to do this again, but I'm going to keep going, assuming that it didn't stop. The other point I wanted to make in this is that you can also add a voice track under, let's say, your video clip with sound. I showed you how to lower the volume on the sound, which I'm going to do again. And then I'm going to get out of this, unlink sound clip to video clip. I'm going to unlink it for right now. It'll still play, but by unlinking it, this allows me then to be able to record a narration under it. So now, put my narration, and now I've laid down another soundtrack under this first one. So let's see what we've got so far. Whoops, put my cursor back here. Yada, 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 and here we go, going and keeping going until I figure out getting closer and closer and closer. And now I'm recording some more and talking some more and keeping going until I figure out what's going on here. Okay, so here I am again. I'm doing all this blah 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 yada yada yada, and here we keep going and we keep going. Okay. Keep going. Lastly, keep going, I can also we're getting closer and record closer and closer until finally my computer. It's the recording here is probably going to cut out on me, but we'll go back and take a look at it in just a second. And go. So here I am trying to record directly onto Videopad, which is quite simple and straightforward. And you see right now, what happens is it's going to put that right at the end of where I'm recording. And so I'm going to hit stop. Now, because the mic was captured for this suite, you no longer can see my picture. You've got to distort picture because the camera still thinks it's working off Videopad instead of me, but you don't need to see my pretty face anymore. So now you notice also too, a couple of things. Go back up here to the upper left-hand corner. You notice that the audio recordings that I made, the one I made under my picture, and then the one I made under the video at Arrowhead Stadium, it created separate folders for each one of those so you can continue to see where they are, as well as a folder for the video recording I just made. Maybe I didn't necessarily know where I was going to put it on the timeline, but it just recorded it for me. So now I can pull it right here. And there it is. So now let me back this up and see what we've brought. And now I'm recording some more and talking some more and keeping going until I figure out what's going on here. And now I'm recording some more and talking some more and keeping going until I figure out what's going on here. Okay, so here I am again. I'm doing all this blah 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 yada yada yada, and here we keep going and we keep going and we keep going, and we're getting closer. Remember over here, I lowered the volume. So now the volume's going to be a little bit lower because it's on a lower volume track, but I can simply just take this and drag it down, and now it'll have the volume will be higher. Videopad, which is quite simple and straightforward. You see right now, what happens is it's going to put that right at the end of where I'm recording. So to and you see, I
Videopad, which
didn't
is
mean to do it,
quite
but
simple and
you can also see
straightforward.
where
And you see
it
right
it
now,
bumped the video up
what
into a
happens is it's
separate
going to put
video track.
that
You can
right at
again
the
do
end of the
multi-video laying. We don't need to worry about that. I'm going to put it back down here just to keep it all in the same line to make it easy. Um, let me unlink this so this way there. Because it was linked together, it moved both at the same time. Lastly, I just want to mention adding text. You can put text in all the, they got all these little cool, funky little things. Let me just do a simple, straightforward text overlay. Didn't mean to do that. I clicked too many times, so this one came up blank. All right, it gives you different fonts to be able to use. You can do different backgrounds. You know, if you're trying to get that EKU color, you can do all that. You can give different point sizes. Click, close this here. Let me just hit Michael test video and let's highlight this and increase the point size. I can have it scroll. I can scroll top to bottom, left to right. Let's do left to right. And once that's done, I close this. And let's see. If I did this right, I should be able to take this, move it here, take this one, move this one here. Delete that. Okay, so now getting closer and closer and closer and closer until finally it go. So here I am trying to record directly onto Videopad, which is quite simple and straightforward. Getting closer and closer and closer and closer until finally it go on this one. So here I am trying to record directly onto Videopad, which is quite simple and straightforward. Obviously, you're not going to want it this big. I just wanted you to guys see. There it was. So closer, 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 closer until finally it go. So here I am trying to record directly onto Videopad, which is quite simple and straightforward. And closer and closer and closer and closer until finally it go. So here I am trying to record directly onto I went backwards on quite that. Simple and straightforward. So I've got to go back and you see right now edit that little piece. It's going to what happens because I don't want to put that right at the end to right instead of right to left. So it puts the text in images. So I'm just going to delete that clip. And I'm going to delete this clip. And I'm going to put a new text image in there. Simple text overlay. Again, you guys can play around with this a little bit. Michael again. And this time I'm going to scroll right to left. Did I do right to left last time or do left to right? I thought I did left to right. Well, we'll see what happens. And I'm just going to drag it over here. Again, you can do like this if you do with Adobe. You can drag stuff back and forth to make it simple. And go. Getting closer and closer and closer and closer. Finally, go. So here I am trying to record directly. There we go. Videopad, which is quite simple and straightforward. Getting closer and closer and closer and closer until finally so it go. Got all that mixed together. So here I am trying to record directly onto edit things the way I want. So I just want to go ahead and export it. You see right now, go to File, Export Video, or you can go right here to this toolbar, Export Video. Now, when you're going to export it, you should probably try to make sure you export it as an MP4. So if you hit Export Video File, it's going to give you different choices. You know, because I've done this before, it normally comes up with, it'll say like a VPI, but let me see. If I do it this way, it may show me that. No, because like since I've already done this a couple of different times, it already knows it's going to default for me as an MP4. But you'll get a screen where it's going to say, you know, export to this folder, and then what you want to do is you want to change the format to an MP4. It's going to give you a whole bunch of different ones to use, and I don't see where the default one is on here. But basically, it's going to tell you it's going to save it as a Videopad file, which is not what you want. You want to save it as an MP4. So it makes it easier to be able to edit it and work with it in the future. There's different ways you can do it. You can do letterbox, do crop zoom, you can do stretch. If you're going to do stretch, which is probably good if you're talking about putting stuff on YouTube and things like that, letterbox will work too because you'll still get those little stripes in there. Stretch will play a little bit with your still images. You may look a little weird in it, and you'll see because I'm going to do this as a stretch just for right now. I don't know about, varying smart starts. That's a little bit above my pay grade. You can give it a title. This way you know what it is. I'm going to just call this test 1. Hit create, and it's going to start. I will admit it is not the fastest as far as downloading and converting, but it will get you there. It'll let you know where the cursor is or the video position so you can see second by second. It's a little faster than real time, but not much faster. So you've got a very, very long story. If you've got a 10-minute story, it's probably going to take about 8 minutes for it to convert. I'm not sure that really compares to Adobe Premiere because I never really had to edit really long stories in Adobe Premiere. I remember when Chad and I were working on the documentary on history of BKU because he had some really long clips and converting them. That took a long time. Sometimes he just had to commandeer a computer for a heck of a long time to make sure it was not interfered with until he was done with the recording. So it's going to take a few seconds, but once it's done, we'll do the playback. Also, too, the first time you try to export the video, it's going to say, hey, you know what? I need, you need to have the purchase code. You need to have the access code. The access code will be there in the email that I sent you, or on when you click on this site too. I'll put it there. When you click on Blackboard to view this, you'll have the email there. You also have the link to be able to download Videopad, and also in that link, when it takes you to their website, there's all these other tutorials that'll give you a little bit more in-depth, not a little bit more, a lot more in-depth as far as how to use Videopad than I'm going to go into here. This is a quick and hopefully simple instruction. It's, again, really cool as far as being free, because right now I'm using the free version and I haven't even begun to really dig into a lot of things that it can do, but it can do a lot for something that's free that you can use across all your different platforms. Any questions? Raise your hands right now. Okay, seeing none, good. It's still going to continue to work here. I'm looking at where the video position is. We're still like 8 seconds, but almost 20% through. I'm sure adding my audio and video didn't help. So I'm going to pause the recording for a second. You guys need to watch this, and then I'll start it up again as soon as it's finished. Okay, gang, I am back again because of what happened when I was using the video online or the video in the app. It cut off the video for using the Screencast-O-Matic. So that's why you got this little purple looking thing up in the left-hand corner. But that's all right. You see, when you're done up here, it'll show that, okay, you can show you where it is in your folder, whatever folder you're in. You can go back to play. It shows it's complete because it's green. Or you can say, you know what, I realize I don't need that because you may have, downloaded a couple of different things. So I'm just going to click on play right now so we can see what we created. So some of it may not be on the screen because Screencast-O-Matic is not capturing everything fully. Let me move this around because it's not going to let me see if I can make this bigger. Oh, and by the way, the tutorials up on the Videopad website are much shorter than what I'm doing here with you guys. So, but I figure I might as well make you guys hang out with me since you got to see me that much anyway. And now I'm recording some more and talking some more and keeping going until I figure out what's going on here. And now I'm recording some more and talking some more and keeping going until I figure out what's going on here. Okay, so here I am again. I'm doing all this blah 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 yada yada yada, and here we keep going and we keep going and we keep going, and we're getting closer and closer and closer and closer until finally it go. So here I am trying to record directly onto Videopad, which is quite simple and straightforward. So you see right remember now, how I had mentioned that put that right at the end of where I made it do full screen. So I'm going to hit stop. The videos that I had previously shot and the video recording of me all looked fine. However, the image to make it all fit full screen got a little bloated. It's kind of like when you used to go to those old fun houses in the amusement park. So that's just something to pay attention to that you may want to think about. You may just want to go ahead and do the letterbox version when you're transferring things over. Because so when I was, let me go back in here quickly for a quick second. When I said I wanted to export the video, it gave me the stretch, which I used right now, which is probably okay for when you're putting things again on YouTube. But the letterbox is just as good, and it won't make the still images try to stretch to fit. Now there are ways you can go in there and manipulate the still images, but again, that's something that is not necessarily what I'm going to worry about here. Just like you can do in Adobe Premiere, you can do the same thing in here, and there are tutorials on how to do that. Also, too, if you're not saving it to your computer when you want to export your audio or your project, when you hit export video, you can send directly to YouTube, Flickr, your Dropbox, your Google Drive, your Venmo account. So you can send it straight to there instead of necessarily having to save it on your computer. You can do it either way. Anyway, that is the basics of Videopad. As I said, there's a link to be able to download Videopad onto your computer or your iPad or your tablet. And that link also has where all the tutorials are. And I'm also going to give you the code that you need for the free package you're going to be using when you're ready to export it, because it's going to ask you this question, do you want to upgrade now or whatever? You just click on the button that says I already have the access code or whatever. You paste that in there and you're good to go. If you have any questions, let me know. Use this as you're trying to put together your final project, but also too, for next week, now I want you to go out and shoot some pictures and videos on your camera and mix the story together here on Videopad and upload it. Continue to tell me what's going on in your life with this whole craziness with this social separation, social distancing, and the coronavirus. Maybe you want to pull some videos off YouTube or off other sites about what other people are doing. You can do stories about how other people around the country or around your community are coping. Maybe you want to pull videos of if you're your church, what the maybe the pastors are delivering messages to folks about social distancing and things like that. Just be creative as far as like trying to tell this ongoing story, how life continues on in this new world. You know, as you've been going through this now for 3 weeks and maybe a little bit more, there's probably more and more things you may be growing frustrated with, or maybe come with new creative ways to keep yourself from going stir crazy. Whatever it is, just tell me all about it in your next story. Again, we're not talking about something long, so 3, 4 minutes at the most should be enough to give me a good little idea of what's going on. Again, I hope you guys are staying safe. Be careful out there, and I will talk to you later.